Getting in some more breaking news right now as an Indian student who has been captured by the Ukrainian military. In fact, the details that we have right now, the Indian mission in Kyiv has essentially indicated that there are reports that have come in. They are trying to ascertain the reports that have come in of an Indian student that has been in the custody of the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. In fact, we are being told that the Indian mission in Kyiv is essentially saying that they are yet to receive any formal communication from the Ukrainian side with this regard. In fact, they are also trying to ascertain the details of the Indian national being captured by the Ukrainian forces. Let me just quickly take you through some of the details that we have right now as to who this person is and what is it that he had to say to the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. In fact, this is the response. This is the video that has been released by the 63rd Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian army, in which he has been identified as Majoti Sahil Mohammed Hussein. He's a 22-year-old student and he comes from Morbi city in Gujarat. In fact, he says that he was in Russia and he was studying in a university before he was actually asked to take up this service at the Russian army. In fact, he has made an appearance in a video that was recorded by the brigade. In fact, this is the video of the 22-year-old which has been recorded by the Ukrainian army and has been released just a short while back.
Студент. И потому меня в тюрьму посадили за наркотики статьи. Тюрьму меня дали 7 лет. Я не хотел в тюрьме сидеть. Потом я контракт писал ВСО.
Well, in fact, Majoti, in this particular video that has been recorded by the brigade, has said that he was sentenced to 7 years in a Russian prison on a drug-related charges. In fact, he was offered the opportunity to sign a contract with the Russian military to avoid further punishment. In fact, he says, and I'm quoting, this is the translation that has been put out by the Ukrainian army in this particular video. He says that he didn't want to stay in the prison, so he essentially signed a contract for the special military operation. And after 16 days of training, this was on 1st of October, Majoti was sent on his first combat mission where he spent 3 days. And after a conflict with his commander, he surrendered to the Ukrainian troops of the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. And he came across a Ukrainian trench position about 2 to 3 kilometers away. And he had thereafter put down his rifle and said that he didn't want to fight. That's when he was taken into custody of this 63rd Mechanized Brigade. He also goes on to say that he does not want to go back to Russia. And the fact that he was essentially forced to sign the contract. In fact, he's not the only person to have been reported to fighting for the Russian army. This year itself, about 12 Indians have been killed fighting for the Russian army against Ukraine. 16 are still missing. This is the latest now coming in. But in this particular case, Ukraine has now put this video out of 22-year-old Majoti, who hails from Morbi in Gujarat. And he says that he was in Russia to pursue further studies. But in fact, it turns out that he was arrested in a drug-related case and he was given an offer in which he was asked to sign a contract and to join the Russian army, which is exactly what he has essentially done. These are the claims that have been made, and more important, it's important to highlight here, this is a claim that has been made by the Ukrainian army. There isn't any response that has come in from the Russian army at this point in time. But so far, the Indian mission in Kyiv has essentially indicated that they are trying to ascertain the veracity of this particular video that has been put out by the Ukrainian army. And they also maintain that there is no formal communication that has come in from Ukraine at this point in time with regards to this particular video and the fact that they have an Indian in their custody. But this is for the first time that the Ukrainian army has actually put out a video of an Indian who has been taken into the custody following the conflict that began in the year 2022. Over the last few months, there have been multiple reports essentially coming in, particularly those students who have gone to Russia, and the fact that they were basically asked to sign a contract. Some have made a direct allegation against the Russian army, saying that they were basically coerced to take this particular offer, and the fact that there has been very little help that has come in from the authorities there. In fact, family members here have actually reached out to the Ministry of External Affairs earlier. Ministry of External Affairs have also confirmed that there are Indians who are still stuck in Russia, and attempts have been made with the Kremlin to try and negotiate their return. Some have actually returned, others are still stuck. At least 16 are still missing if you go by the numbers that were put out by the Ministry of External Affairs. But this is what we know so far. This is the latest in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, where you have Indian who has been caught in this particular conflict. Now, just to quickly recap all that we know, and this video that you are seeing, this is a video that has been released by the Ukrainian army to begin with, in which an Indian 22-year-old Majoti, who actually hails from Morbi in Gujarat, was taken into the custody of the 63rd Mechanized Brigade. In fact, while he was part of this entire conflict, crossed over to Ukraine, and he did actually have a fight. This is what he says in this video, that he had a fight with his commander, and thereafter he had actually given up the rifle, is what we are being told. So these are the latest developments now coming in that we have just got a short while back, and also a confirmation coming in from the Indian mission in Kyiv, where they're essentially saying that they are trying to ascertain the videos that they have got so far, and that there has been no formal communication that has essentially come in from the Ukrainian authorities. Just to put this into perspective, once again, the breaking news coming in is of an Indian student in the custody of the Ukrainian army at this point in time. In fact, this is the first such case where the Ukrainian army has actually put out an official video, number one. And number two, the fact that he is from Morbi in Gujarat. We're also trying to reach out to the family members here to find out whether at all there is any truth to what has been agreed upon right now, or what has been, they've essentially indicated at this stage. But what's very important to highlight here are the following. Number one, with regards to the fact that he had crossed over to Ukraine, he had a fight with the commander, and the fact that he has said that he is from Gujarat in Morbi, and that he was in Russia for the last few years. He had gone there to study, but he was taken into custody by the Russian army. This was when he was caught in a drug-related issue.